So it seems that Kathleen Kennedy is finally getting a brutal reality check after ruining Star Wars. Now, Kathleen Kennedy will finally be out and not a moment too soon. You see, Kathleen Kennedy spent over a decade turning Star Wars into a corporate disaster. Now, Kathleen Kennedy alienated the fans, butchered the lore, and buried the magic under the mountain of cringe and woke identity politics. Now, Kathleen Kennedy didn't just mismanage a big franchise, she actually destroyed a legacy. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy stepping down in August, the spin machine is in full meltdown mode, but no amount of PR fluff is going to go ahead and save Kathleen Kennedy's reputation. Now, this is the brutal truth the media won't say, but I will. Now, let's be real. The second that Matt Maloney, as you all know, leaked that story that Kathleen Kennedy's time was almost up, Disney's entire PR machine exploded into panic mode. That leak wasn't supposed to get out, and it showed. You see, they got caught with their pants down basically, and Kathleen Kennedy herself ran to her Hollywood pals to spin the story faster than the Millennium Falcon during the Castle Run. Now, she called up Mike Fleming and dropped the most pathetic legacy polishing piece that you've ever seen. And y'all remember that because it was like watching someone write their own obituary at this point and still manage to lie through half of it. Now, the desperation was real, and so was the damage control. Now, Kathleen Kennedy couldn't let the narrative get away from her, so she grabbed a microphone and tried to rewrite the story in real time. Now, Fleming tried to also, he tried so hard to make Maloney look like he was just stirring the pot, but then Kathleen Kennedy herself came out and basically confirmed the whole thing. Now, Kathleen Kennedy maybe is going within the year itself. Now, that's not speculation anymore. That's reality. That's coming through several different reports and YouTubers. And the August date, that came straight from Jeff Snyder, and he's got a solid, like what it's said that he's got a solid track record. I'm not sure. Now, it would be shocking if Kathleen Kennedy delayed it so just to cling to power one more quarter. But that's exactly what someone like Kathleen Kennedy would do. You see, this is the woman who's been allergic to accountability ever since day one, kind of like Bob Iger as well as other people in Hollywood. Now, KK is not a victim here. You see, Kennedy is not being unfairly ousted. Kennedy gets destroyed by her own resume. Every single decision she made at Lucasfilm pushed the franchise further into the ground. She took the fan base that loved Star Wars for its mythic roots, timeless heroism, its epic scope, and she injected it with forced identity politics, intersectional lectures, and soulless reboots that nobody asked for. The original magic, that's gone, replaced by boardroom approved lectures wrapped in corporate sci-fi packaging, okay? And that right there is sad, especially for the sake of wokeism. And don't let them gaslight you into thinking that it was all about the toxic fandom. There was no toxic fandom. The real toxicity came from the top, from the woman herself, from her insufferable interviews where she kept bragging about the force is female from the t-shirts as you all seen it, as if Star Wars needed gender marketing instead of good storytelling. Now, the moment that Kennedy made it about her agenda, and not about the fans, Star Wars was doomed. You see, she weaponized identity politics to just to shield herself from criticism. And when fans pushed back, she labeled them. Well, she fans got labeled bigots. That's the oldest, laziest move in the woke playbook. But you want to know why people left Star Wars in droves and stuff? Why so many longtime fans just walked away? It wasn't because, they suddenly stopped loving the galaxy far, far away. It was simply because Kennedy made that galaxy unrecognizable. Luke Skywalker just simply became a bitter hermit who threw away his legacy. The sequels had zero vision. Ray was just a bland self-insert who magically did everything right from day one. Finn was hyped up as a major character, then got sidelined. It was a character graveyard, and the storytelling, that itself was a total nightmare. Now, every single project under Kathleen Kennedy's watch turned into a mess. Solo Bomb, The Rise of Skywalker was a Frankenstein's monster of reactions, and the acolyte itself looks like it was made in a Tumblr echo chamber. Now, cringe doesn't even begin to describe it. You see, you all remember from the whole Star Wars celebration, that didn't feel like a celebration at all anymore. It was basically a corporate funeral with LED lights and cosplay. You see, Kennedy drained the fun right out of it. And now they want us to believe that Kennedy is actually going to be leaving on good terms. I mean, that this is all a part of a graceful exit plan. Y'all can miss me with that. This is what a meltdown looks like, you see, and this is just a studio scrambling to simply regain control after trusting Kennedy, a woman who burned through over $1 billion and still couldn't deliver coherent trilogy. Even Bob Iger himself had enough. It's bad when Mr. DEI himself decides that Kennedy has to go. Now, the Fleming piece was so tone deaf that it felt like satire, basically. He practically wrote a love letter to Kennedy, spinning her failures into triumphs and blaming everyone else for the chaos at Lucasfilm. It was peak Hollywood cope, and this wasn't journalism, it was a PR stunt. And Kennedy got exposed, and she tried to slap a smiley face on the carnage. But no amount of spin can actually erase the fact that Star Wars, under Kennedy's leadership, became a corporate zombie once again. And basically, I know someone's going to say, well, The Mandalorian was good. Yes, but it was just the first two seasons that were good. You know who was behind that? John Favreau and stuff. And Dave Filoni, who basically couldn't keep his nose out of stuff, but he's just the chief creative officer. But these are the only guys in the building who actually understood Star Wars, and even that show started to collapse once Kathleen Kennedy's people got their hands on it. Grogu couldn't even save the brand forever. Now, by the time they announced the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, it was clear that the well was dry and Kathleen Kennedy was just simply milking whatever was left. Now, I'm be honest, you can just simply tell that Kathleen Kennedy's exit is a disaster by how they're timing it. August isn't just some random month; it's basically a strategic retreat. Dump the news when people are distracted by summer blockbusters or the lack thereof and vacations. Classic Hollywood damage control, but this not going to work. The fans aren't fooled anymore. They're going to keep an eye on this day. We've seen this play before, and we know what happens when you let the same people who broke something try to fix it, okay? And I'm be honest with y'all. You know what? This isn't just about Star Wars. It's about what happens when you let woke activism override creativity. Kathleen Kennedy didn't care about the fans. Kathleen Kennedy cared about using a beloved franchise as her personal platform, and she did it with no respect for what came before. I mean, that's why the new Star Wars films felt more like lectures instead of, good adventures. I mean, that's why the dialogue was stilted, as people would say, the tone was off, and the stakes never felt real. Excuse me, because Kathleen Kennedy ripped out the soul of the franchise and replaced it with a PowerPoint presentation about diversity quotas and on political intersectional mess. And let's not forget about the endless parade of projects that Kennedy announced with fanfare and then quietly scrapped away. Ryan Johnson's trilogy, well, that vanished. Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron, that got canceled. Taika Waititi's Star Wars, still stuck in development limbo. And Kennedy made Lucasfilm into a meme at this point and not in a very good way. Now, simply put, every announcement became a punchline. I mean, every delay, another reminder that Kennedy had no clue what she was doing, okay? But the truth is, I mean, Kathleen Kennedy and her tenure at Lucasfilm will go down as one of the most embarrassing in Hollywood history. Okay. Now, it didn't just fail, it exploded. Star Wars got destroyed by not just by, a few trolls on the internet, but by Kathleen Kennedy and corporate elitists who thought they were smarter than the fans, who thought they could go ahead and hijack a legacy and reprogram it for clout. And now they're left picking up the pieces. But there's nothing graceful about Kathleen Kennedy's exit. You see, this is the end of an era and not in a nostalgic way, in a good riddance kind of way. And Kathleen Kennedy stepping down is not a soft landing, it's actually a crash and burn. that everyone saw coming. Now, the only question is who's stepping in next? And will they actually care about the stories or just simply keep chasing the algorithm itself or keep the status quo going over at Lucasfilm? But look, it's simple. You either respect the fans and the lore or you go down in flames like Kennedy. You either build something people love or you force feed them your personal political ideology until they walk away. Now, Star Wars didn't die because people stopped caring, it died because Kennedy stopped listening. That's the real tragedy and the real warning as well. Okay. So, yeah, basically, we shouldn't let these people rewrite history and don't let them pretend that, Kathleen Kennedy was simply a misunderstood genius. You see, Kathleen Kennedy was the worst thing to happen in Star Wars. And this August exit, it's not just overdue, it's a freaking celebration at this point. I mean, might as well like the fireworks, play the Katina band because we're finally free of Kathleen Kennedy and one of the most insufferable regimes in entertainment. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Do you think that it's a good thing that Kathleen Kennedy is going away? Do you think this is real? Or do you think that, basically, I mean, Star Wars is just dead at this point? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button in this video if you enjoy what was shared in it. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification for future notifications of uploads. And I'll see you all next one. Until then, peace.